Welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel every day leading up to Halloween. It chooses the horror movie, and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 1983's Psycho 2, which was directed by Richard Franklin. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Erik.
Oh boy, I had never seen this one, and you know what? I am glad I did. This was fun.
It was wild.
Yeah, very different than I expected.
And it honestly wasn't terrible.
No. I mean, nowadays, everything has a sequel. You know, movies don't wait typically 22 years to be like, let's make a sequel. But this is one of the first, that did take that large gap or whatever. And, dude, paid off. This is a good sequel.
Yeah. Does it have bad, reception?
I mean, it's not, amazing. I think it's got, a 6.7 or something. Let's see. See, it was funny because I texted Justin. I was like, yeah, we're doing Psycho 2. And he's like, that movie is a 0% Rotten Tomatoes. And I was like, no, it doesn't. I looked it up. I was like, what are you talking about? And he sends me a screenshot. I'm like, that's American Psycho 2 with William Shatner and shit.
You know what it reminds me of a lot of? And I know I brought this up on the last podcast, Jaws. Jaws was a great movie. It's like Psycho. And Jaws 2 was but it was good.
I like Jaws 2.
I know. And I like this one. That's what I'm saying. That's what I compare it to.
Oh, okay.
Jaws 2 is clearly not as good as
No.
Jaws, and so is Psycho 2 not as good as Psycho. But it's it's good.
You know what? I'm going to push back on that a little bit because I think Jaws 2 is basically just we're just doing the same movie again. It's a little bit different. It's attacking the teens on the boat. Dude, this movie is completely different than Psycho 1.
True. I'll give you that. And it's also in color, which was that was probably my would it be better if it was black and white? And I'm like, no. I think the color was a good choice.
Yeah, I think because what they were trying to do, I think, is just be hey, listen, we kind of created the slasher genre, and now it's run amok in the early 80s, and it's we got to get back in there. And if they released it black and white, I don't think people would have been as receptive to it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, man, as far as sequels go, though, I think this is wow, very original, took it in a totally different direction, really grew on the character that we knew. We really only know Norman Bates and Lila Crane or Loomis, that woman. Those are the only two we know, and they're both back. But Anthony Perkins did a great job, really good.
Yeah, if you were to tell me in the writers' room, so we're gonna have Norman Bates flipping burgers in a diner, that's the direction we're doing. It worked, dude. It worked so good because it's 22 years after he's out of a mental institution. I don't think you'd be getting out for killing that many people, though, ever. Unless I'm wrong, but
well, it's the 60s. He claimed insanity. I mean, I don't know.
Jeez, yeah. How many people did Norman kill? 8
in the movie or in general?
And before he got put in the institution, was it 8?
I honestly don't remember, but I mean, they did that Bates Motel show, which is a prequel show, so maybe they kill more than that. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was the fact that he killed his mother and dressed up like her. I think people are all right, this guy's crazy.
Yeah, and the voices that he did.
Yeah, he's definitely not all there. But this movie really starts off where you're hey, you know what? This guy has been away for 22 years. Seems like he's actually got it together. In the beginning of the movie, you're hey, you know what? I like this guy.
We're rooting for him.
Yeah,
Norman, go work at the diner and go be a nice guy. And
yeah, and the thing is, I was kind of sitting there. I was damn, Norman's kind of got it all made now. He gets out of jail. People are kind of being nice to him. Some people, he's got a job. A girl in town immediately takes to him. I was wow. But, obviously we found out she's...
No, Norman's got a job.
He's got a job. He's got a girl.
Look at you, Norman.
Well, I'm expecting him to be the town pariah where everyone's oh, God, get him out of here. And the motel is burning down. I don't know. But yeah, he's got a house, he's got a job, he's got a new young girl that likes him. I don't know. I mean, it's all too good to be true, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was happy for him. And then he gets back to his motel. It's 20 years later. He's got this, cliche scumbag running his motel now, which I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that is, the print and repeat, douchebag. It's slimy trailer trash guy. That guy's in everything.
Yeah, just drunk, with a cigar in his mouth. He's they rent by the hour at this motel. He was just a real scumbag.
Yeah.
So Norman's pissed off about that. He comes back. He sees that his motel has become a sex motel, basically. He doesn't like that. But yeah, I want to know, so he's got like his Dr. Loomis basically, who's like following him around. He's like, Norman, like you gotta acclimate back to life. Like your mother really is dead. So is like, does that guy not have any more patience?
No, he's a social worker, right?
I thought he was his therapist from the institution.
Yeah, I thought he was a social worker too, but he's checking in on Norman a lot, and he probably checks in on other people. He's probably not his only patient.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He just felt like he was just like after Norman got out, he's like, I'm just gonna come like hang out in the town, like make sure everything goes all right.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got other cases and stuff, but yeah, it's kind of like, all right, Norman, well, you're free now. We can walk this way, and then all right, here's your old house where you killed a bunch of people. See ya.
Right. I mean, yeah, like we got you a job, you're making minimum wage, cleaning dishes, but whatever. But it's a really interesting idea because in like 1983, we've got Friday the 13th has 3 movies out already at this point, and then you've got like all these many slasher films. Halloween's got a few sequels out at this point too. But this is the first one where we're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna kind of like make you like the bad guy from the first one, and you're gonna want to see him succeed, and other people are gonna kind of be the villains that make him into the villain again. Like Michael Myers. Imagine he got out of jail, and you're like, well, you know what? He's kind of a good guy. So that's kind of what this movie is. It makes you like the serial killer. He doesn't wear a mask. He doesn't have any one-liners. So he's a really like believable, sympathetic character, which I can't think of another horror film we've really seen that in. But then Anthony Hopkins is out of jail. He meets this girl at the diner, Mary, who's played by Meg Tilly, who her sister, right?
Yeah, from Chucky, Jennifer Tilly. That's all. Like, what else is she in, Jennifer Tilly?
Dude, she's in Liar Liar, remember?
Right.
Yeah, and she's also Joe's wife in Family Guy.
Huh.
She's Bonnie in Family Guy. Joe, the guy in the wheelchair, in the neighbor.
Would have never guessed that. That's kind of cool.
Well, she's got that voice, dude. So like,
yeah, the classic voice.
But yeah, I didn't know her sister was an actress too. So I was kind of looking at her. I was like, she kind of looks familiar. But then I was like, there's no way it's Jennifer Tilly. And then I looked her up. I was like, oh, she's got a sister. Okay.
What else has Meg Tilly done?
I don't know, dude. I did not look up like anything about this movie, so I don't know.
Yeah. What's funny, that character she plays is like the Janet Leigh character from the first one. I'm like, why didn't they get Jamie Lee Curtis?
Oh.
Because that's Janet Leigh's daughter. And I'm like, that would have been a no-brainer. I don't know what happened. Maybe Jamie Lee Curtis turned it down. Maybe she's like, I just don't want to be typecasted as horror. Now she's like, I'm a scream queen. It's like, all right, Jamie Lee Curtis, we know. Like,
yeah, the Activia money started drying up.
No, she's fine. She's fine, I'm sure.
Yeah, but for her to, I don't know why they didn't. That would have been a really good choice.
It's a legacy. It's a legacy character too, which would be cool. And Halloween already came out, so she's into horror.
And The Fog and Prom Night had all come out at that point.
Yeah, maybe I want to look up why. I'm curious about that now.
I mean, it's also kind of funny too, just thinking about like Halloween in this movie. The name Loomis, dude, has gone from Psycho in 1960 to Halloween, and then also in Scream, Billy Loomis.
Yeah.
So I know you didn't see the new Scream movie, right?
No.
Okay, I won't say anything then. But Loomis is like, Jesus Christ, this name cannot go away, dude. This name, it's still, even in 2022, it's still like
it's in the new Hotel Transylvania. It's like.
Is it really?
I don't know, imagine.
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wasn't it in Firestarter too, the new one? I think there was a Loomis in that or something. Some Stephen King thing we did. There was a Loomis.
Maybe, but yeah, just the fact that it's like that, it's just a name from 1916. People are like, oh, that's a name from Psycho, put it in Halloween. And people are like, oh, that's a name from Halloween, put it in Scream. It's just like, it just keeps going. But yeah, so I mean, obviously this can't compare to the original. I mean, that one has like such a big, it subverts your expectation like so hard by killing off the main character like halfway through.
Yeah.
But were you expecting the twist at all in this movie?
I got confused a little bit. So I'm like, okay, the mother and daughter are messing with Norman to try to get him to snap and go back to the asylum because they don't like him. And even though he is trying and he is kind of cured, it's like that's messed up to do to somebody who's clearly psychotic. And that happens. But then there's the other layer of he was adopted and his real mother that he killed, his mother in the original Psycho that he killed was actually not his real mother. It was his aunt.
Yes.
So, and then the new mother shows up, and the ending's a little crazy, where she shows up at the end, and she's been on the phone with him, and she has been messing with him too. So there's been two people, like two groups of people messing with him. And the new mother, immediately, he's like, "Oh, so you're my mother. Oh, let me see the birth certificate. Okay, cool. I'm going to go over here by the sink," and boom, whacks her in the head with a shovel. I don't know who has a shovel in their kitchen, but that was really handy.
Yeah, no, the ending surprised the hell out of me. I was not expecting that at all. Like, all right, yeah, so basically, like, the twist here is whatever. This movie's been out for, like, 40 years. Like, sorry. But the whole time, the original woman whose sister got killed, the Janet Leigh's sister, she's still alive, still pissed off, and has a daughter. And she's like, you know what? We got to ruin Norman's life when he gets out. He killed my sister, and we got to ruin his life. So yeah, they're messing with him, but then Mary, the younger girl, actually is like, you know what? Like, he's a good guy. Like, this is messed up. I don't want to do this anymore. But you're right. The whole time that they're messing with her, it's actually there's some random other lady that's been Norman's mom the whole time. That was where I was kind of like, all right, we're jumping the shark a little bit.
That was the layer we probably could have done without.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would rather there only be one party messing with him. And then, like, he kills Meg Tilly and makes her his new, like, mother.
They could have just done that.
That probably would have been better than adding this whole, like, actually, that first movie that everyone loves, we're completely ruining it. And that wasn't your mother.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like, ruin it. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's just crazy, and he needs a maternal figure, you know? It doesn't really matter who it is, I guess. I don't think that ruins it, but... I will say I was a little bit confused too. Towards the end, I was kind of like, yo, who is the killer? Like, I really didn't know. Because I was like, oh, I don't think it's Norman. Like, he's a good guy now.
It's been his actual mother that's been killing people. But...
No. It was Norman, dude.
What?
Okay.
F this movie, man.
Okay, wait. So I think, because, I mean, listen, we just saw this. It's not like we're experts on this movie. But I'm pretty sure what's happening was it was Norman snapped towards the end, and he started killing people. I don't think that old lady killed anybody.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But I was under the impression that it was the real mother who killed, like, the like, scumbag, like, manager and everyone else. I thought that was the real mother. And Norman's like, I have no idea what's going on. Like,
no, I could be wrong, too. I need to watch it again, dude.
And I think Norman's first kill was when he killed his mother. And then he's back at it.
No, I think he killed the lady in the basement, dude. Who killed her? That was the old lady?
The mother.
But she didn't admit that at all.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be totally wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know really either, but it was just kind of confusing. I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, did I black out watching this? Like, what? What did I miss? Like, I don't know.
Oh, wait, Emma reveals that she was the real murderer, having killed anybody who tried to harm her son. In response, Norman kills her and carries... Okay, shit.
Thank you for confusing me. I was like, wait, like...
I don't really know what happened either. It was confusing.
You confused me. You hurt my head. You hurt my brain.
Oh my god. I didn't really know what was going on either. And when that old lady came in, I was kind of like, wait, who the hell is this lady now? And she's like, you don't know the last name Spool?
Well, we saw her. She works at the diner.
No, I know. I don't know. I guess I had a disconnect. I also was confused, but... Yeah, it was a little bit confusing, especially towards the end. Like, I don't know. I didn't even remember that lady working at the diner, so I was like, wait, who the fuck is this lady? And then when he took the shovel, I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah, no, that was so wild. It's like, just clonks her on the head.
I really was not expecting
What was... I was like, all right. And I also paused it to go to the bathroom like 5 minutes before that. I was like, how much more is this movie? And it was like, God, this movie is so... dragging right now.
It's a little bit long, and I don't know, maybe just like my brain is programmed to expect a big, like,
Norman
the mom
was always the killer, but no, it was the new mom, who's his actual mom, was killing people, and then Norman's first kill was the mother, and he's probably like, jackpot, now I get to do my, like, thing that I used to do again.
Well, yeah, I think that's the way the movie ends. You know, it's kind of like, I love that, like, the Bates Motel with vacancy, like, blinking now, and you're like, oh, they're open for business again. Like, he's got his dead mom again, sitting in the window. Like, I actually thought the ending was awesome, that last final shot.
Yeah.
But the way we get there is a little bit crazy. Like, so the ending then, when the old lady's in the basement going through to get her mask and wig and all that shit on and the outfit, then the other old lady comes out of the basement and kills her right then and there and puts her in the coal right there.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's psychotic. It's psycho. Yeah.
No, but like, there's no way an old lady could even do that. So she like pulled all the coal down, put the other old lady in there, stuffed it all up there, and then also the old lady looks like she was in the coal for like weeks, dude. She looked like like a zombie when they
Yeah,
found her.
and so this old lady also took the car and put that in the riverbank or whatever, the marsh.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
did it rain before? Yeah, it did rain. Wow, that's a good point. Yeah, you know what's crazy? I think it's is it Lake Mead, dude. They're finding so many bodies from like the '60s and '70s. Now that it's drying
Mm,
up, it's like, oh, found another body today in a barrel. Like, it's crazy. Like, this shit
yeah.
actually happens. It's so scary.
Well, back then, I mean, it was a lot easier to get away with
Well,
it.
it's close to Vegas too, so they're just like, oh, dump them in the Hoover Dam.
Oh my
They didn't
God.
pay their debt. You know what happens?
Norman in the 60s, like, he really could have gotten away with this, for quite a while.
Hiding the body the way he did is his downfall. I always thought with the car. Like, as soon as it dries up, you're caught.
You mean like you're dead, or you mean like he's gonna get
He's
caught?
gonna get caught. Yeah, well, I mean, unless the evidence is so tampered with, but like, I don't know.
Well, wasn't it a tar pit in the back? I don't even think it was like a lake.
It was. I think it was a river, but it was like it just rained and it was drying up.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's crazy, obviously, but it was the 60s, so you could get away with this kind of stuff a lot easier than you could nowadays.
Yeah, with all the cameras and cell phones
Oh
today.
my
Yeah,
God. Oh my God, yeah, dude. No, the Bates Motel could not survive nowadays. But
yeah.
have you ever seen the prequel, the TV show, The Bates Motel?
No, I've never seen. I've always wanted to though.
I know, it kind of looks interesting. It's got that Vera Farmiga woman.
Isn't it? J.J. Abrams did that. Who did that? So it's like
I don't
it
know.
definitely doesn't end well. Whatever the show is.
Well, it's gonna have to end with Norman killing his mom, yeah.
Yeah, jeez, you're right.
And then it goes into Psycho or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I think the whole like I didn't realize how much of like this is like a real series, like a franchise, dude. I mean, there's 4 movies.
There's a third one and a fourth one after this. So this one must have done well enough to make a
Yeah,
third. Would you ever be interested in putting the third one on the wheel?
yeah. I mean, why not? Now actually get to see him. He's back.
Do you think it's like Jaws 3? It's really bad.
I think it gets progressively worse. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, because I mean, I think this one's really interesting because it's like, okay, we get the psycho. He's locked up at the end of the first one. We never think he's coming back. Then he comes back. He's a good guy, and then we see him literally. Society makes him bad again. He
Hmm.
probably maybe wouldn't have become bad again. We don't know
Yeah.
if people weren't making him bad.
Yeah.
So now the third one's like, nope, wheels are off. Let's go. I'm ready to fucking kill people again. So
Right.
I don't even know what it would be like again, but it could be more of a rehash of the first one.
Hmm.
But you know who wrote this one though?
I'm looking it up. I can't find the writer. Who wrote it?
Tom Holland.
What? That's so random.
So the guy that did Fright Night and Child's Play.
I know that. Yeah, I guess that could. Yeah, he did this one too.
He wrote it, yeah.
Holy shit! Was that like his first? Was that his like first gig, or did Fright Night already come out?
No, Fright Night was 2 years later. So this very well could have been. Let's see. Now he had written 2 movies before this: Class of '84 and The Beast Within. And then they brought him in to do Fright Night. Yeah.
Oh, he directed Thinner, the Stephen King movie. That movie freaked me out, man.
I love Tom Holland, dude. He's the man.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, dude, that's kind of cool.
So that's cool. I mean, like, so he wrote this. So people are like, I mean, like, think about it, dude. Like, they weren't really doing sequels that much in 1983. I mean, not that much. It was kind of like a newer thing, you know?
Well, they probably saw like Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3 do good. It's like, hey, we got this like gold cow over here. Let's milk it. Let's milk Psycho. Let's get this is
Yeah.
come on. You got to be honest. This is such a cash grab movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if this came out in like 1975, I probably would have looked at it differently. But the fact that it came out in the early
20,
80s, you're
20
like,
plus years later. Yeah.
well, no, the time that it came out, it's like, oh, this is clearly slasher mania. Like, we gotta make money now. If this came out in 1975, I would have been like, oh, they genuinely just wanted to make a sequel.
Hmm.
But no, the fact that this came out right when the slashers were hot, they're like, we gotta strike. We made slashers. There wouldn't be these slasher craze without us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta come in and do this. So I enjoyed it. I don't think it's like an unbelievable movie, but I actually thought it was pretty solid. It's a mystery. Like, you're kind of like, I don't really know who did it, and I kind of want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of want to see it continue. I want to see Psycho 3. I'm sure it's terrible if I had to guess, but it looks like Anthony Perkins is in Psycho 3. He's not in the fourth one, which is called Bates Motel.
Really?
So Psycho came out. Psycho came out in 1960. Psycho 2 came out 23 years later in 1983. Psycho 3 came out 3 years after Psycho 2 in 1986, and Bates Motel came out a year later in 1987, and then done.
No. But ready for this?
Wait. There's a fourth one. The beginning? No.
So there's 4 movies with Anthony Perkins. So the fourth one is with Anthony Perkins. Then they did the Bates Motel film, and then they did the Bates Motel TV series. So there's more.
That's a lot. That's a lot of Psycho. I don't need that much.
1990s Psycho for the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm typing in. I read something like a week ago or like 2 weeks ago about Quentin Tarantino talking about Psycho 2, or was it the Psycho remake?
Yeah, Psycho 2.
Apparently he like loves Psycho 2.
Yeah. He was on an episode of Sequels That Don't Suck. It was the Shudder show that Eli Roth was doing, and they talk about this movie. That's what made me want to put it on here, because I was like, you know what? Can't be that bad.
Did you watch the Quentin Tarantino stuff?
Yeah. So he's basically saying he didn't think the movie's better, but he thinks that the performance from Anthony Perkins is better.
Wow.
And, I mean, he basically was saying, he's like, I'm not a huge Hitchcock fan, and I'm not a huge Psycho fan to begin with. He's like, but I think that Anthony Perkins did a better job in this than the original one.
Huh.
He likes the director so much. He thought Richard Franklin, he's like, it was ballsy that he was willing to like undertake this. He's like, in the 80s, everybody looked at Hitchcock and Psycho like they were
untouchable. Yeah.
They're like, you don't do this. So he stepped in, and apparently there's a lot of directors that were asked to do this, and they're like, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? And now I'm sure anybody would be like, remake The Godfather? Of course I'll do it. But like back then, they had respect.
Do you think, well, speaking of Jaws again, do you think they'll remake Jaws and The Godfather? Those are 2 movies that, like when you talk untouchable movies, I'm like, well, you could say The Wizard of Oz, but they've done shit with The Wizard of Oz, and there's a Broadway musical. Godfather, the original, maybe in 20 years, but...
Let me put it this way. Guess what year Alfred Hitchcock died?
It was a year before this came out, I'm sure.
Pretty much. 1980, yeah. So 3 years later, this comes out. So let's just say Steven Spielberg dies in, 2040 or whatever, 2035? I don't think we'd be too far off. Or Francis Ford Coppola dies, and 3 years later, we get The Godfather.
Yeah, if I see a Jaws remake, it's like, oh, that's such a tall order. But like, part of me wants to see it so I can like bash it, talk so much shit about it off the bat. There's no way it's going to be better than the OG.
No, I think that the problem is, though, and this is kind of the thing with Hellraiser now that just came out, if you take a movie and it has the exact same title, the next generation is going to get confused when they look it up. You know, like...
Fright Night, the new Fright Night, yeah.
Fright Night's a good example. Exactly. So like a 20-year-old right now is like, oh, I want to look up Fright Night or whatever. They type in Fright Night. I guarantee you the 2011 one is probably going to come up.
McLovin.
Right, before the 1985 one. And they might watch that one and be like, this isn't that good. But it takes like either a really good parent to be like, oh no, here's the good one or whatever, or they just need to like do their own research, which I don't think enough people probably are.
Yeah.
You know, which like think about like Point Break. Like people are gonna look up Point Break and they're gonna see the 2011 one or whatever. No, but that might happen, Eric. You and I know that the good one came out in 91, but unless you have somebody telling you that, you might just watch they'll be like, oh, I heard this Point Break movie's good, and you just watch the first one that pops up when you type in search, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I don't like when movies just take the title and they're like, okay, Hellraiser, this is it. This is Hellraiser. So you're like, oh, I'm 15. I don't know any better. Let's watch it.
Yeah, and these remakes are getting like so much closer together. Like Hellboy, for example. Like we've remade Hellboy. Like it's been 8 years since the last one, the Golden Army or whatever. And we're gonna do Hellboy with a new actor, and like Ron Perlman's like, what the hell? Like, I'm not that old.
Think about Spider-Man, dude.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Well, okay, all right, perfect. All right, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you have the actor, they're still alive. What are you doing? Like, if you book a part, like that should be your part.
Now it's opening up multiverses. Like Marvel is so into like, hey, we can do like X-Men or in this universe in this way. But not like the original still happened, but in a different universe. It's like, okay, like now you're taking advantage of your audience.
Well, it's just so I think the thing is this movie did it right. Psycho 2 did it right by being like, we're bringing back Anthony Perkins. We're using the same house. We're doing everything as close as we can to the original one. Basically,
it's different. It's a different movie. It's in color. Like no one's gonna say we just copied it and did it again.
Right, and I think if this, like, this is before Hollywood was like, okay, we know what the people want. They don't want the same, like, God forbid, the same characters are in the movie that they liked. No, that's not why people are here. They want a young person who's going to take the mantle from the... Whoever thought that was a good idea is a moron. The only reason that I give a shit about Psycho 2 is that Anthony Perkins is in it. That's the only reason I care.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Meg Tilly, awesome, great. But they killed her. They're like, no. This is about Anthony Perkins. Yeah. This isn't about anybody else. So get rid of her now. So I love that. I love that they killed her off. It didn't have her be like the little, I agree. I like you, Norman. Like, I'm your friend now. Let's kill together. Like, if this movie came out now, that's what would have happened.
Probably. And they have a little psycho child and it ends like that or something.
Exactly. That's literally what would happen. And maybe that's what happens in the third one. Maybe he meets a girl but I think the fact that his mother, in his brain, his crazy mother's like, you can't have a girlfriend, like all this stuff. She's a slut, all this stuff. So, I don't know.
Wild movie, though. Don't know. Wild movie. It's a rush.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing.
I definitely want to hear the Quentin Tarantino thing. That's such a, like, so he was just on a show talking about it, so he wasn't like going out of his way and being like, Psycho 2 is amazing. Like, it's like, Quentin Tarantino, you are actually a psycho. You are actually out of your fucking mind. And I love you, and I just, yeah.
He's just walking out of a grocery store in LA and someone's like, hey, what do you think about Psycho 2? He's like, all right, hold on, let me just tell you. The thing about Psycho 2, it's better than Psycho 1. And you're like, all right, Jesus Christ. No, it's on YouTube, actually. You can just type in Psycho 2 Quentin Tarantino, and it pops right up, and he just goes on a rant about how amazing Anthony Perkins is, and how he loves the director. And
Perkins was good in it, too. I think he'd be about, like, 80 today. He died when he was, I think, 60. He had pneumonia and HIV/AIDS, so sad.
Yeah, no, he's just an interesting guy. Just an interesting dude.
One thing it was missing that I really liked from the original Psycho was the bird stuff. Like, they put a lot of stuff with him and birds. Remember, Alfred Hitchcock did the birds, but like he would eat candy corn, and he'd have all these birds in his house, which we saw like an owl, but they didn't really go into like his obsession with birds. And what do birds do? They prey on things, and kind of wanted them to do like that more, like where he's like making a nest or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
and like a nest in a hotel, or I don't know, not like an actual nest, but you know what I mean, like more stuff like that where it's like, oh, makes you think.
Yeah, they could have done something cheap where it's just like, oh, that's like the carrier pigeon. They actually return home like after they've been gone for a long time or something like that. Just like they come home to roost or some bullshit.
Yeah. No, I would have loved it. That's the fandom in me. And it's kind of cool too. We did Psycho as our last film on the horror wheel last year on Halloween. We did October 31st with Psycho, so it's kind of cool. Yeah. Almost a year later to the day, we're doing Psycho 2, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, damn.
So we should definitely keep Psycho 3 on the next October wheel if we're still here.
If we're still here,
not like dead, but if we're still like able to have time to do this and whatnot.
Yeah. If the world if we don't get nuked.
Well, yeah, that's happening too, right? Isn't there? Yeah, who knows?
Oh my god. Well, anyways, I guess why don't you spin the old wheel then, Erik?
We shall spin in. Oh, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
What?
Sleepy Hollow. We got Sleepy Hollow.
I don't even think she was alive.
I know. No, Amber Heard was alive when that came out. Come on.
I know, yeah. Johnny Depp's dating like a 20-year-old.
Christina Ricci.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, she is in this. Yeah, no, dude, this is a great movie. I love this movie.
I haven't seen this in a while. I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
Very excited.
Well, anyways, everybody, thank you very much for listening into our discussion on Psycho 2. If you haven't had a chance, there's quite a few episodes that have come out this month, and there's quite a few more coming too. So we will see you all tomorrow with Sleepy Hollow.